or stay towards the center. You know, the one thing about, and this is good because the one thing about life is it's messy. And it's go fine in your mind, but not necessarily when you try to pull it together. We're just going to work with what we have, and I'm not going to stress about it because if this is the worst part of my day, it's a fabulous day. So, let me. Okay. So, first of all, thank y'all so much for coming. Pink ribbon yoga is really important to me personally because my mom is a breast cancer survivor and she has attended this retreat numerous times and it was absolutely life-changing for her. She has 3 daughters and a son, and as much as women, we could empathize and support her through her cancer journey. Getting that phone call of it's cancer is a very helpless feeling as a daughter, and I never realized that as much as we empathized with her, we didn't understand what she was going through. And she was a rock star, and she went and did everything she needed to do, and she is still here with us today, and I'm so grateful. And about 10 years ago, she attended the retreat for the first time. A close friend of mine, Kelly Keller, who I've known forever and a day, is one of the kind of people that helped kind of get Pink Ribbon Yoga going. And she's a longtime breast cancer survivor as well, and she's close with my mom too. And they went to this retreat, and my mom came home a different person. She said, I finally found people that felt what I felt. And we were all together. And just that level of support just healed places in her that she didn't know needed to be healed. And it was a really beautiful thing to witness somebody lose an emotional weight that you didn't know they were carrying. Right? We all carry stuff. And some of us are really good at hiding our stuff. But we all have stuff. So this retreat for her and so many other women that I know that have attended have all come back and said the same thing, how life-changing it was and the support. So our goal is to sponsor as many women as we can by offering our Revive classes so they can go and not have to worry about the financial piece because a lot of women don't get to go because of the financial piece. So we just wanted to take that away by just raising money. So we, you know, as women, we all know people who have had breast cancer. You know, some have had it themselves. You know, and are survivors. So it's something as women, I think it's just important. And I think support more than anything is so incredibly important. So I thank you so much for being here. So with that, I am going to give you lots and lots and lots of options, but I want to make sure that you just know ahead of time, because I'll remind you 420 times at least, to move how you need to move. The only thing I ask of you is just breathe. Just breathe the whole time. If you're opposite, I cue breathing just as a reminder to keep breathing. Not so you're in sync with me. We're not, you know, we're not making a video to be published, you know, where we all need to look a certain way. I just want you to be you. I want you to move how you need to move. Don't try to be like me. I'm not going to try to be like you. We'll just all be ourselves, and that is the beauty of yoga. Because something that I feel personally has been lost as yoga has become more popular, especially through social media, is the idea of yoga is about healing. It's not about put your leg over your head or do a split or any any of the poses. Traditionally speaking, the whole idea of the physical practice was to relax your body enough so that way you can really sit in a meditation or lie down comfortably in a meditation. So that's why the breathing is so important. And the end of the class of the mindfulness of why that's so important. Right? So just really think of it as the chunk of physical movements is just to get your body ready for that most important piece of healing, which is the mental. And because we're recording, due to licensing, I can't have any music playing, so I can sing to you if you want. I don't know if you want me to sing to you, but I can. But breathe. It's amazing when you take away distractions and you just focus on your breathing, how healing your breath, just that sound of your breath is. So I'm going to have you find a comfortable seat, and that is whatever is comfortable for you. And it doesn't matter. The only thing I'm going to ask of you is that you just find a nice long straight spot. We have blocks that you can sit on, right? We have extra blocks. I can always grab you an extra one if you need it. Okay, but just try to find just a nice long straight spot. You're going to lift the shoulders just up towards your ears and then just relax them down. Right, drop the elbows. Just rest your hands. And your palms can be up, they can be down, they can be in your lap, whatever you need. Now just close your eyes and just begin to bring the attention to the sound of your breath. Taking nice, long, slow, deep breaths in through your nose. Nice, long, deep breaths out your nose or your mouth, whatever feels comfortable for you. But just see as you're inhaling, if you can expand through your lungs. And then as you exhale, just see if you can soften through the lungs. So your rib cage will begin to kind of feel like an accordion. As you inhale, it expands. And as you exhale, it contracts. And just begin to bring your attention to your facial muscles. Just relaxing the space between your eyebrows, through your jaw. If you find that when you're stressed, you clench your teeth, take your tongue behind your two front teeth, or even the roof of your mouth, and that will help relax your jaw muscle. If it helps, you can even think about having those little mini marshmallows between your upper and lower teeth. Just try not to squish the marshmallows. You can keep your eyes closed or open them. There's a total personal preference. And just very slowly start to just drop your chin towards your chest. If you work on a computer or on a phone a lot, the back of the neck muscles tend to get very tight. And there's two little muscles, one on each side of the back of the skull, called the occipital muscles. And they connect into the back of the skull right at the top of the neck, and they actually run down and connect between your shoulder blades. So if you get a lot of headaches in the back of your head, a lot of times it's just because these are tight. And as you take your next inhale, just very slowly bring your head to the center, and then gently lift the head up, looking towards the ceiling. And if it's uncomfortable for you, or necks are super finicky, so looking up is uncomfortable, just look more forward, but take your gaze on a higher level, if it's possible. Again, it's not about the range of motion, we're just checking in, saying hey to the neck. And then on your inhale, we'll bring the head to the center, and as you exhale, just gently drop one ear to one shoulder. Inhale, bringing the head to the center, and as you exhale, gently dropping to the other side. Inhale, we'll take the head back to the center, and as you exhale, just bring your head back to a neutral position. Rolling the shoulders back. So I'm going to try to remember now to remind you, with your block, if you're using one, just bring it towards the top of your mat, just so it's in a place that you can easily reach it. Now, if you're sitting cross-legged, we're just going to switch the cross in your legs. It balances out your hips over time. We tend to have one side that crosses easily and one side that does not. If it's due to a hip issue or knee issue, right, you can always just switch and have one leg out, one leg in instead. And we'll relax your shoulders. It's time to take a nice big deep breath and reach the arms up. And as you exhale, we'll take one arm down, one arm reaches, whichever side you want to go to first, because we will always do both sides. And again, just checking in. We'll inhale, come back to the center, reaching the arms up, and we'll exhale and gently drop to the other side. Inhale, come back to the center, reaching the arms up. We'll do one more time each side. So first hand drops down, opposite hand reaches up and over. Inhale, reaching it up. Exhale, other side. Inhale, reaching all the way up. Exhale, releasing the arms. And we're going to come up onto your hands and knees to start. So for any wrist issues, when you're on the hands and knees, there's a couple of different options. You can curl the forefingers in and have the thumbs forward. Okay. One thing that's super important with this is you just want to make sure that the shoulders are relaxed back and that the inside bend of the elbows is pointed forwards. Right, so that way it keeps the shoulders in alignment. Right, here we want to have the knees underneath your hips, relaxing your shoulders. If this hand position is uncomfortable for you at all, you can always come down on the forearms. Forearms, I personally like a lot, but it's very easy to hunch. So you just have to be mindful that you're not hunching in this position. Right? We always joke that there's no slouchasana in yoga, right? So no slouch. Right? Keep the neck back. Okay. Obviously, if you're fine for the wrist, we'll take the hands underneath your shoulders, spread your fingers like little starfish. We want to draw the belly in and up, relax the top of the feet to the floor. Roll the shoulders from the ears, draw the belly in, and I want you to think about lengthening your tailbone towards the wall behind you, and then extending the crown of the head towards the wall in front of you. So you're just finding space and decompression. Now on the inhale, very, very slowly start to lower the belly down, lift the tailbone, lift your chin, and as we exhale, rounding back. It's a little cat-cat. On the inhale, pressing the spine down, chin lifts. exhaling, rounding it up. Okay, and again, it's not about how big you move. One more time. Inhale, pressing the belly down. Exhale, pressing the belly down. Inhale, come to a nice flat spine. So that just means nice and long. Right, so for modifications for downward facing dog, child's pose is usually the go-to, which would be opening the knees, bringing the hips towards the heels. And again, as best as you can. And then walking the arms forward, dropping the head, or you can take the hands behind you and drop the head. And if that's not comfortable on your knees, again, you can go to a tabletop position. You can also take that tabletop onto the forearms instead, right? So there's always, always, always options, and if you don't like any of those options, guess what? You can do your own thing, and that's totally cool. Okay? If you are comfortable with downward facing dog, we're going to curl the toes, lift the hips up and back, roll the shoulders from the ears, pull the belly in, and then think about pressing the hands into the earth as the tailbone moves towards the wall behind you. Right, so there should never be pain in your body, right? Especially not here. Right? There'll be muscular burning and building of lactic acid, all that stuff that's healthy and makes us strong, but we never want pain. So if you're in downward facing dog, I want you to think about rolling the shoulders back away from the ears, and then think for a moment about the outside of your underarms. The outside of your underarms is going to gently rotate in towards your heart. That helps broaden through the upper back and through the shoulders, and it also helps keep your shoulders away from your hips. Now on your inhale, wherever you are, we'll look to the hands. Right, if you're in down dog, bend your knees, and then take your time, taking as many steps as you need to. We'll just make our way into a standing forward fold towards the top of your mat. Again, you have your block should you need it. If you have a hard time reaching the floor, right, take your take your block and just bring it in front of you so you can lift the floor up to you. And so the fingertips will come to the floor, rub the shins. You can even take the hands to the thighs if you need. Take a nice big deep breath in, lengthening the spine forward, half left. And gazing down at your feet because they are very interesting. You'll exhale and gently hold. One more time. Inhale, lengthening your spine. Exhale, gently hold. You're now putting a soft little bend in the knees. Take a big deep breath in. And as you exhale, just begin to roll your spine up nice and slow. Take your time. Now, if you find that coming from the down position, rolling up, if that makes you woozy, makes you dizzy, gives you what I call the sparkles, and instead of holding the downward folding position, when we step forward, you can automatically bend the knees and take your hands to your thighs and just give yourself some support, keeping your head above your heart. So that way, and again, that's going to eliminate the wooziness, right? Keeping your head above your heart. And that can happen to anybody, just FYI, that happens a lot. So it's never pleasant. We'll relax the shoulders, grounding down through your feet. We'll open the palms, and I want you to think a moment about being a tree. Your feet are your roots. Your leg in the base of the bottom of the hips, the whole pubic region, is your trunk. So we want to root down evenly and then lengthen out of the spine. Okay, so just growing your spine as tall as you can. Right, the tailbone is going to extend down as the front of the body begins. So we're not arching our spine, we're keeping our spine in its neutral, normal position. As we inhale, reaching the arms up. Exhale, folding forward. So again, you can just come to that halfway position or come all the way down. Okay, fingertips to the floor, shins or block, thighs. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, gently fold. Plant your palms. On the inhale, we'll step back into your plank, top of our push-up. So you can take the knees down, keep the toes curled if you need it, and we're going to full plank. With your full plank, remember to keep your heels back, belly draws in, shoulders relax away from the ears, and we're going to smile. Because you could be like doing something not fun right now. Okay, take a big deep breath. And then we'll exhale and slowly lower all the way onto your belly. Now, if that's not possible, you can always come back into child's pose instead. Right, so remember, you have lots and lots and lots of options. Taking the hands towards the sides of the chest, roll the shoulders back, elbows hug in towards your waist. We're going to curl the toes under, press the heels back. You'll find a little bit more space through the front of the hips. Release the thighs down, release your knees, and then relax the toes. So you'll find just a little bit more space. That really helps, especially if you have had lower spine tightness lately. Okay. On your inhale, pull the belly in. And as you exhale, start to gently lift the chest up. Don't worry about going high. We're just coming into a little baby cobra pose. And then exhale, release. One more time. Inhale. And then exhale. So you can keep the knees down if you would like, or curl the toes. Take a big deep breath in, slowly press up, and then we'll exhale, coming back to downward facing dog, child's pose, or tabletop. Just listening to the sound of your breath. It's the very first thing that we do when we're born is take a breath. Take a big inhale and usually let out a scream. The last thing we do as our soul leaves our body is an exhale. And it's all those breaths in between that are the story of our life. And so the breath is incredibly important. As we inhale, we look to the hands, bend the knees, can take as many steps as you need to. Exhale, walking back to the top of the mat, coming back to your standing forward fold. Inhale, lengthening your spine. Exhale, gently fold. Now this time as you inhale, we begin to bend the knees, just making sure, bend them as much as you are comfortable, but make sure that the kneecaps are level. And then slowly see if you can start to extend the crown of the head forward and the tailbone back. And we'll bring the hands to the heart center. Right, so the belly and the lower ribs might be on the thighs, or they might not be. Either way, it's okay. Gazing down at your toes. And draw the belly in. I call this wonky chair because it's a very low chair position. It just builds a little heat in the legs, but I think it looks kind of wonky. And take a nice big deep breath in. And as you exhale, we'll sweep the arms out and up. And maybe get the legs back if it's comfortable. And then as you exhale, back into that chair this time. Elongating the spine. Roll the shoulders from the ears. And don't worry about the depth. Just take a look at the knees. Make sure that the kneecaps are level. If the knees are level, that means your hips are level. Draw the shoulders back. One more time. Take a big deep breath in. Reach the arms up. Give a gentle reach back if it's available. If not, leave it. And then we'll exhale. Back to your chair. Now, on the inhale, clasp your hands behind you. If there's any issues with your wrists or that's just not comfortable, you can always just keep your hands on your hips instead. Take a big deep breath in. Roll. As you exhale, don't worry, we're going to straighten your legs. Exhale, straighten the legs, gently fold, and then maybe let the arms lift. But if it does not feel comfortable to lift, Don't worry. I want you to think about reaching the arms back behind you rather than lifting high, right? Any lift is a lift. And we want to think about dropping the crown of the head down. On the inhale, begin to release the hands back to the tailbone. And as we exhale, we'll release the hands back to the floor or your block if you need it. Taking that left hand underneath your chin, big deep breath in, lengthen the spine, draw the shoulders back, and as you exhale, take a little twist, lifting that right arm up, rolling the shoulders away from the ears. If you need to bend that left knee and straighten the right knee, that's totally fine. And on the inhale, straighten both legs, coming back to the center. Now we'll just switch our side. We'll take that right hand down, rolling the left shoulder back, left arm extends. You can bend into that right knee, keeping that left leg straight, or straighten both legs. If you get chronic tightness in your lower back, doing this with bent knees really helps. On the inhale, getting back to the center. We'll exhale, take a gentle fold. Inhale, lengthening the spine. Now as you exhale, you're going to begin to lift your heels because feet get terribly neglected. So I want you to imagine that you are like a Barbie doll. So you're going to grow your heels as much as comfortable for you. At any point that it's enough, just release your feet and just tap them out. If you're okay, you're going to begin to start to sink the hips towards the heels. Right, so the heels are lifted. And just be cautious of the knees. Make sure that the knees are not unhappy. If you're still okay, y'all are amazing. You're still okay. The spine up. If you get here and your body says no thank you, it is easy enough to release the hands, or you can do what I so gracefully do quite often, which is go into another pose because I've fallen out of it. Just know if you fall, just make it another pose. Okay? That's the magic of yoga. It doesn't matter. It's all good. And we'll inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, release your hands, straighten the legs, release the feet, and just tap them out for a moment. Right now that we're getting into flip-flop season, feet need to be stretched because it will cause issues in your ankles and in your knees and in your hips. And suddenly you're worrying why you have hip pain, but it's actually because it started in your feet because your feet are tight. On the inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, gently fold. Plant your palms. So again, we're going to take it back to down dog or child's pose or tabletop. So whichever you. Now that we've talked about what's happening in the upper body with down dog, we're going to talk about the lower body for a quick minute. I want you to look at your heels and make sure you don't see them. So in downward facing dog, our heels should disappear behind the fronts of our ankles. And that's how we know that there's no rotation happening in our femur bones, in the top of the legs, going into the hips, that there's not that rotation there. Right? So if you can see your heels, either inside or outside of your ankles, then you know that there's a rotation there. Now on the inhale, we'll slowly lower back to your front, top of a push-up. And again, come down on the knees or the forearms. As you exhale, elbows hug in, and we'll slowly lower back down to the earth. And unclip your toes. Roll the shoulders back. Inhale, opening your heart, cobra or upward dog. And it's totally up to you. Exhale, release. Curl the toes. Inhale, coming back to your plank, top of the push-up. Exhaling it back, downward facing dog. Okay, we're not going to hold this one. So if you're in child's pose, hang on because we're coming. Okay, so on your inhale, we'll release your knees, unclip your toes, and then we'll press back into child's pose. And again, if you need a rest, hang out here. Otherwise, we're going to come into a lateral side body stretch. So this gets into the part of the lower back. Like most women will refer to it as the love handles. It's actually called your QL muscle. So from child's pose, you'll begin to walk both hands towards the right hand side. And it doesn't matter how far you walk. And then I want you to think about, can you press the left hip back towards your heel? So depending on where you are really tight is where you're going to feel it the most. Some people feel this the most around that shoulder blade area. Some people feel it where the QL is, which is through the side of the rib cage down towards the hip. Some people might feel it in a totally different area, and that's okay. Wherever you feel the opening means that you're releasing. Just make sure that you're breathing, because that's the most important part. As we inhale, we'll begin to walk the hands back to the center, and as we exhale, we'll gently walk to the left-hand side. And again, just going as far as you can. You don't have to have even ranges of motion. Begin to draw that right hip back. As we take our next inhale, slowly walk the hands back to the center. As we exhale, we'll come back up onto the hands and knees. And taking the hands underneath your shoulders, or you can take the hands and curl the forefingers under with the thumbs leading forward, or you can come down onto the forearms. And whatever feels best. And we're going to come back to that cat-cat. Inhale, pressing the belly down, roll the shoulders back, lift the chin, lift the tail. Exhale, rounding it up. Inhale, pressing it down. Exhale, rounding it up. One more time. Inhale, press it down. Exhale, round it up. Inhale, come to a nice long straight spine. We're going to walk the hands forward, curl the toes, and we're going to come back to a standing forward fold. So you can get there however you can get there. If you want to bypass through down dog and just take a stretch, you can. Otherwise, you can just walk yourself up to the top of the mat. And if you're in down dog, and just taking your time, coming forward. Your fingertips will come back to the floor for the shins or the thighs. Inhale, lengthening your spine. Exhale, gently fold. One more time. Inhale, lengthening the spine. Exhale, folding. And press it back into your feet. Inhale, roll the spine up nice and slow. Take your time as we exhale, rolling the shoulders back. How's everybody doing so far? Okay. It's amazing that you can get warm not moving fast. Right? Again, you don't have to move fast. Let's roll the shoulders down. So I thought it would be most appropriate to do the warrior poses because I just think that's the most appropriate when you're talking breast cancer. Right? And all the warriors come from. So we're going to start with the right foot being your standing leg. Okay, so the right foot is going to be forward. We're going to lift up your left foot and then take the hands to the hips. Draw the belly in. And I want you to think about lengthening your tailbone down. So you should notice that your shoulders and your hips are facing the top of the mat. And so for warrior 1 and warrior 3, that's where they stay moving forward. So let's see if you can maybe start to lift that left foot. Now, if your balance is not here with us today, which happens happens all the time. Don't worry about it. We'll take your time and step that right foot back as far as you can until you can plant that right foot. Right? There's no step, must be 3 to 5 feet back. Some people say that. I don't. I just say step back. Just make sure that the left foot is completely planted. Right knee and ankle will be in a nice straight line, and your hip bones are going to be turned forward towards the top of your mat. Okay. If there's any pressure at all, anywhere in your hips or lower back, step your back foot in, just make it a short stance. Right? Warrior one is typically a pretty narrow stance. Okay. Your left foot will most likely be slightly turned, but it doesn't have to be. Relax the shoulders from the ears, and if you're able to, we'll extend the arms up. Now the gaze can be up, the gaze can be forward, your gaze can be down, hands can stay on the hips, you can get the heart center. I want you to think about, can you bring equal body weight into both feet? You feel like your right hip is wanting to pop out. That's super normal, by the way. Take one more big deep breath in. So if this feels really great or it's just enough, hang out here. If you want to try warrior 3 with me, we'll take one more big deep breath in, pull the belly in a little bit more because we can always engage a little more. And as you exhale, start to bring the hands to the heart. And then spin that left foot forward. Right, so this might be your warrior. See, I love to be the first one to wobble. Right? Keeps us humble. Right? So it might be your warrior 3 just here. Keeping the toes on the floor. If you're still feeling okay, and you want to try to shift that body weight into your right foot, and then lift your left foot, pointing the pinky toe of that left foot down, and just kind of hovering over the floor. Into a warrior 3. That's great. Right? The one nice thing about just lifting the foot up a little bit is, guess what? If you need to take the foot down, the floor is right there. If you want to try to see if you can go maybe a little bit higher. Maybe you're feeling pretty warrior-ish today. If that's a word, I don't know if that's a word, but we're going to make it work today. Start to take your gaze down and see if you can put it back behind you. So I like warrior. That's all good. You good? Yep. Yeah. And yoga should not be serious, in my opinion. Right? And I always say, if wobbling, falling on your toes is the worst part of your day, you're having an amazing day. Right? That's not my problem. Right? It's a learning experience. What we learn is, guess what? We have blood flow and oxygen moving through our bodies, and it's hard to stand on one leg. We are not flamingos. Take your time and slowly begin to release. Bring the feet together, top of the mat. Relax the shoulders. Excellent. And we're just going to go right to the other side. We'll do warrior 2 in a few minutes. Okay, so our left leg is going to be the left leg now. Taking the hands to the hips, lifting up that right heel. Relaxing the shoulders. Again, belly draws in, tailbone lengthens down. And so I'm staying here. Right side, left side is not the same. And that's okay. Honor where it is. And if you're okay, we'll start to lift that right foot up. Again, just lifting it just as far as you can. But we want to keep the spine really long. Right? When you're lifting a leg up like this, think about being a marionette, where the spine stays straight and you just move that leg. And very slowly, we'll take that right foot back. Again, just let it land, and then set yourself up. And so your hip bones will move towards the top of your mat, as will your shoulders. Shoulders relax down. So in these types of scissoring leg positions, right here, that left hip needs to move back a little bit so that right hip can safely move forward a little bit. right? So we don't want to crank and force. It's really just a very gentle, oh, I need to kind of maneuver a little bit. And then relaxing your shoulders. Again, make sure that you have equal body weight in both feet. Slowly extend the arms out. And again, if that hurts your shoulders, your neck, it just doesn't feel good, take the hands to the heart. Take the hands back to the hips. And whatever you need, cactus arms. But as you're holding and you're breathing, think about, are you starting to lean into that back leg? Again, that's super normal, but we want to try to keep that body weight between both feet so we're not putting compression on that back leg. Big deep breath in, reaching the arms up. As we exhale, take the hands to the heart or the hips. Again, that's up to you. We'll start to send the right foot forward, coming into Warrior 3. So again, if you like Warrior 1, just hang out there. If you're okay, starting here, feel comfortable, starting to bring that body weight onto that left foot. Now, what the chin does is actually incredibly important here, because a lot of times as soon as we lift that back foot, the chin comes forward. It does not help with our balance, but we mentally think it does. So keep your gaze on a forward downward angle to keep your neck really safe. Okay, flex that back foot. Okay, so when you flex the foot, you keep the quad, the hamstring, and the glute active, and that actually helps hold the leg up. Right, so you're not just holding your femur bone up, which is the biggest and heaviest bone in our bodies. So you're not using the hip flexor to hold that up. Taking it wherever it feels good. Again, if the balance doesn't work on this side, do what I do. Stop and talk. Stop and turn. Right? Yeah, you work with it. It's fine. We'll very slowly step it back to the top of the mat. Big deep breath. Reaching the arms up. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, lengthening the spine. Exhale, fold. So again, we're going to step it back into your plank. So if you want to go to your tabletop, you can, of course, do that. If you want to go to child's pose for a moment, of course, you can do that. So you're going to take a big deep breath in. And again, exhale, slowly lower down. Unflip the toes, roll the shoulders back. Inhale, opening the heart, cobra or up dog, and that's your choice. Exhale, release. Well, inhale, curl the toes, and then back into your plank, top of a push-up. Exhale, get back, downward dog or child's pose. So on your next inhale, we're going to begin to take, if you're in down dog and comfortable, we'll take the right leg up and open, bending the knee, opening the hip, and then stepping the foot forward. If you're on your hands and knees, you're going to pull the hips back a little bit, lift that right knee up, flex that right foot, kick the knee open slightly. You're going to take your right hand, come up on the fingertips, and then you just kind of graciously step that right foot forward. And guess what? We're all in a reverse lunge. It's the same thing, different way to get there. And if neither of those ways work, however you can get the right foot forward with the left leg back, awesome. Just making sure that that right knee ankle are in a nice straight line. You can be on that back knee, or you can have the back toes curled with the knees lifted, heel extending back. Roll the shoulders from the ears. If you're on the knee and it's uncomfortable, you can always fold your mat in just to give yourself a little cushion. We're not going to be here very long. Taking that left hand underneath your shoulder, take a big deep breath, rolling that right shoulder back. Taking that right hand to the back of the hip, hanging out there for a little lunge or twist, or you can extend up that right arm. If you extend the arm up in a twist and you start feeling the tingles in your hand, okay, that's a circulation thing. For some people, the blood comes out of the fingers really, really quickly, and then you get the tingles. So, if that happens, roll the shoulder back and bring the hand behind you. It helps to keep the palm up in this position, so that way the blood flow is moving fluidly, and then there's no compression in the wrist. On your next inhale, begin to release that right hand. Right, if you have the knee lifted, we're going to take that knee down, curl the toes under. We're going to lift that back knee up for a second, pull the hips back, and then pivot your back foot. I'm preparing you for a very fancy game of Twister. Okay. Before you move out of this position, if you feel that you are too wide and you're a little nervous, bend into the left knee. It doesn't look good, but it's going to protect you. And then hop that back foot in. So you're just shortening your seats. With your left foot, we want to make sure that 100% of your foot is flat. So if the pinky toe cannot come down to the floor, just step your foot in. And so right ankle will be in a nice straight line. Your right heel to left heel might line up and might not. Taking your left hand, we'll pull the belly in. Inhale, and just begin to windmill, lifting yourself up. Opening up to warrior two. Right, so in warrior two, you are a scissor. Your right leg is moving forward. Your left leg is moving back. Your right arm is moving forward. Moving back. You want to try to relax the shoulders away from the ears. I want you to imagine a very big yoga ball between your thighs. Try to imagine squeezing it in. So you keep both legs really, really active, using those inner thighs. And begin to flip that right hand up. Take a big deep breath in without moving the legs if possible. Just start to see if you can lift that right arm up, left arm comes back. Again, if you get here and it's at all uncomfortable, it's called reverse dancer warrior. Don't worry, there's no test. But you can always just come back to warrior two instead. Well, inhale, come back into your warrior two, straightening that right leg. Now, if you find that the knee locks, put a little tiny micro bend in it. Again, flipping that right hand up. Inhale, reach up and back. This is a little tiny reverse triangle. And then as we exhale, slowly starting to reach forward, out, and then gently down. Taking that right hand wherever you can reach on that right leg. Left arm is going to reach up, triangle pose. And again, same thing applies as how we did it in the lunge with twist. If that left hand comes up and it's uncomfortable or your fingers fall asleep, right, roll the shoulder back, take the hand behind you, just keep the palm open so that way you get that good circulation. Pressing firmly into your feet, pull the belly in, take a big deep breath in, look down towards your right foot, and then as you exhale, soften your right knee, while gently lift. Excellent. So we're going to pivot, right, which sounds way more complicated than it is. So we're going to straighten the right leg, turn your right foot in, turn your left foot out. We're going to do the sequence in a little bit different order. So now your left leg is going to be your lead leg. Because trust me, y'all don't need me. I'm just telling you, where we're going. Y'all doing an amazing job. Okay, finding your warrior two on your left side. Right, so again, for alignment purposes, really it's just for safety. Make sure that you're equally grounded. Okay, relaxing the shoulders. finger on that left hand reaches forward, and the middle finger on the right hand extended back. And in yoga, those are our peace fingers. Drawing the shoulders from the ears. Then we'll flip that left hand up. Inhale, left arm reaches up, right arm drops back, coming into your reverse dancer warrior. Inhale, coming back into warrior two. As you exhale, straightening that left leg. Again, you can always keep that a little micro bend in the knee if you need it. Left hand stays flipped. Inhale, reversing back. So move. I like to move through reverse triangle before triangle because it helps open up the front of the rib cage, which typically gets compressed. And then as we start our exhale, we'll start to hinge sideways. Reach out, 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 forward and out. And then down is the last piece as that right hand lifts up. And again, if it's uncomfortable to have it up, roll the shoulder back and bring the hand to the back of the hip with the palm up. Keeping your body safe, that's what matters. So this time we're going to take our pose down instead of lifting up. So we'll begin to bend back into your left knee. So you're just going to be facing the back of the mat. Slowly releasing your hands to the floor. Spin that right foot forward. And then again, if you need to drop down on that right knee, you can. So you're just in a runner's lunge at the back of the mat. So instead of it being the first pose in the sequence, it's the last pose in the sequence. Because it doesn't matter what order you put your poses in. You'll take that right hand underneath your shoulder. Inhale, roll the left shoulder back. Left arm extends, coming back into that lunge or twist. One more next inhale, we'll begin to release your hands. And on your exhale, we'll either come back to downward facing dog, if you know how to get to down dog from here, or we'll start to pull the hips slightly back. It just helps give you a little bit more ability to move your hips. And then carefully take the left knee to the right knee, so you're back on your hands and knees. Right? And you can go to down dog, you can go to child's pose or tabletop, whatever you need in this moment. But just so y'all know, the harder stuff is over, which is why I have you turning this way. You're welcome, you can thank me later. Okay, so if you're in downward facing dog, let's just take one more really good full body stretch. If you're in child's pose, take one more really good full body stretch. Right, just reaching the arms forward. Very carefully and very slowly, we'll begin to walk the hands in towards your legs. And we're going to make our way down onto your back. And so, however you want to get there, it's totally fine. Come down onto your back when you're ready. Right, get some water if you need it. Hug the knees into the chest and just give yourself a super big hug. Right, so normally this class is an hour. Today we're doing 75 minutes, so that way you can have a really good relaxation. Right, so you've really opened up from head to toe. So I do want to do one last little thing for your hips before we start to come into some breathing
and relaxation. So begin to take your left foot to the floor. Flexing your right foot will cross your right ankle above your left knee. Right, so this is called supine pigeon pose. Right, so it stretches your hips, it stretches your glutes, and it stretches your hamstrings specifically. Right, so if this is enough for you and that feels really, really good, just hang out right here. If you're okay, we'll start to draw the knee in towards your chest. And you can kind of take the hands around the legs and just hug the legs in. Or you can stretch your leg, that left leg up, and reach your hands wherever you can. But try to see if you can relax your shoulders. So we don't want to tense the shoulders while we're stretching the hips. Inhale, slowly begin to release that left foot to the floor if it's not. And we're going to take one more twist if it's comfortable. This is specifically a lower spinal twist, and it's very specific, especially if you do the SPENGA classes, for helping to stretch your psoas muscle and your QL muscle, right? So the front and back of the body. So there's two ways to do this. So the lighter variation is, I want you to think like a tree is falling. That right foot is going to be the lead. You're going to turn to the inside of your left foot, open the arms to the side, and you're just going to very, very, very gently start to bring that right foot in the general direction of the floor. The right foot's probably not going to come to the floor. The left thigh might hit the floor though. So that's your first option. If you needed to be a little bit more intense, which that might be a yes or a no, you go with the opposite range of motion. So you'll turn to the inside of your left foot, and then again, think of a tree gently falling. We're going to slowly start to drop that right knee towards the earth. Okay, so this is a big twist, even though it doesn't look like it, because it targets two muscles that work every time you move. They get compressed when you sit. They work as you walk. They work as you run, as you cycle. Okay? When you get up and down, these muscles, these two muscle groups in particular, are working very, very hard to lift you up and then to sit you down. Okay, so they get very, very tight. And when they get too tight, you'll get a lot of lower back pain. Now, if you are in the more challenging variation, to come out of it, please make sure you pull your belly in so your belly does the work, not your lower back. And we'll just very, very slowly start to roll back onto your spine. Releasing that right foot. Now, either twist, you'll notice when you come back on your spine, you're crooked. Right? So place the feet down, lift your hips up, and then we'll reset the hips down. Okay, and we'll go to the other side, starting with our supine pigeon. So crossing that left ankle above the right knee. Again, staying there. Or beginning to draw the knees in towards your chest if that feels comfortable. And you might get here and that might not feel comfortable. So if it's not, that's okay. And maybe stretching that right leg up. Inhale, starting to take that right foot to the floor. And then if you prefer to just hang out here, stay there. Open the arms to the sides. want the lighter variation of the twist, we'll just gently start to just drop towards the right, letting that left foot move in the direction of the earth, or coming the opposite direction, turning to the inside of your right foot, letting the left knee drop. Just moving from a place of comfort. And just making sure you're using the belly, pull the belly in, and slowly start to lift back up. Releasing both feet. Then we'll press both feet into the earth and just take just a little tiny lift of the hips. So I don't want you to think bridge pose, just want you to think resetting the hips. Hips just lift just enough. Kind of feel some space in the lower spine. And then taking your time, we'll begin to roll onto your back. And then just begin to take a moment.
I'm going to invite you to find a comfortable place that you can relax into. And that can be whatever is comfortable for you. If being on your back is not comfortable,
Always sit. Whatever is comfortable for you.
and as we go through our breath work and our relaxation, if your body needs to move and readjust, move and readjust. Whatever you need. We're going to begin to take one hand to your heart and one hand to your belly. We're going to practice what's called the three-part breath. And it's breathing into the belly, into the rib cage, and into the chest. And it's wonderful to do anytime you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed, anxious, tired, frustrated, happy, sad. It just works. So we're going to just start with just taking one nice big deep breath in through your nose. And then just take a nice long exhale out your nose or your mouth. So we're going to begin with just starting with the belly. So just taking a nice big deep breath in. I want you to imagine just filling the belly. And as you exhale, just think about releasing all the air out of the belly. Into the belly. Exhale, allowing the air to leave the belly. And one more like that. Breathing into the belly. Exhale out of the belly. We're going to add on the rib cage. So inhaling, breathing into the belly and into the rib cage. As you exhale, exhaling out of the rib cage and out of the belly. Into the belly, into the rib cage. Exhaling out of the rib cage, out of the belly. One more like that. Breathing into the belly, to the rib cage,
the rib cage, out of the belly. We'll add on with the chest. Breathing into the belly, rib cage, and bringing that breath all the way up through the top of the chest. As you exhale, allowing the breath to move out of the chest, out of the rib cage, and out of the belly. Breathing into the belly, rib cage, and chest. Exhaling out of the chest, rib cage, and the belly. One more deep breath into the belly, into the rib cage, into the chest. And exhaling out of the chest, out of the rib cage, out of the belly. Just beginning to release your hands however they are most comfortable for you. Keeping them where they are if that works. And just take one nice big deep breath. And just exhaling, release. Just let your body just completely be supported by the earth. Relaxing all through your facial muscles. Through your neck and your shoulders. Allowing your arms and legs to be completely heavy. Your spine from the top to the bottom. Just allowing for any stress, anything you know you need to let go of. Just allowing it to drain down your arms and your legs, out your fingertips and your toes. Breathing peace, calm, love, healing. Exhale, letting go of whatever you need to. Beginning to bring the attention back to your breath.
some slow and gentle wiggles to your fingers and your toes. And to bring some movements back to your arms and your legs. Just taking your time, just beginning to rebend your knees nice and slowly. Drawing the knees in towards your chest one at a time. Taking any final movements that your body's asking for, whatever that might be for you. Just taking the time to let your body roll to one side if that's comfortable, or you can rock forward and back. We'll make our way back to a comfortable seat as you are ready. Sitting however you are comfortable. And just returning to a nice long straight spine. Bring the palms together, thumbs into the heart. A big breath in through your nose. Exhale and release. Taking your thumbs between your eyebrows for peaceful, calming thoughts. To the lips for words of truth and kindness. Back to your heart for unconditional love. Always to yourself first. And spreading to all your love. One more big deep breath. Exhale, release. Gently open our eyes. So thank you all so much for coming today. Thank you for helping us support so many women for a very important cause. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Namaste.